You know, in the world of AI, we've all been living in the what-if phase for a while now. But according to some pretty startling new research, we are about to slam headfirst into the what-now phase. There's an AI security reckoning on the horizon, and folks, it's coming a lot faster than you think. So where is all this coming from? Well, let's dive into the source, the Kite-works 2026 Risk Forecast Report. And they really don't pull any punches. This statement right here, it just perfectly captures the tension we're about to unpack. Think of it like this. Innovation is in a supercar flooring it down the highway, while governance is stuck in a traffic jam 5 miles back. That collision? Yeah, that's the reckoning. All right, so let's start with Act 1 of this story, the acceleration. And I want to be clear, this isn't some slow burn. This is a full-on explosion of AI adoption happening in every single industry all at once. This number, wow, this number really says it all. We're not talking about a majority here, or even a vast majority. We are talking about a complete and total sweep. 100% every single organization they surveyed has autonomous, agentic AI on their roadmap. This isn't science fiction. This is next year's project plan. But what does agentic AI actually mean? I mean, we got to be clear. Forget the simple chatbots you might be used to. We are talking about truly autonomous systems that are being woven into the very fabric of how a business runs. They're going to be making decisions, executing core workflows, and this is the really crucial part, handling your most sensitive data, all of it, without a human constantly looking over their shoulder. So, we've got the gas pedal absolutely floored on adoption. But what about the brakes? Well, this is where the story takes a jarring turn. This is the stall, and it's where we find some seriously dangerous, even terrifying gaps.
The report keeps coming back to this one phrase, and it's for a very good reason. The uncomfortable truth is, most organizations aren't ready. That one simple sentence is really the foundation for this whole security reckoning that's headed our way.
And that leads us to the first massive problem, something the report calls the containment gap. Let me put it this way. We're getting really good at building these incredibly powerful AI tools, but we are falling desperately behind on building the off switch. It's this growing divide between our ability to watch what an AI is doing and our ability to actually stop it if things go wrong. And you can see that gap clear as day right here in the data. On the one hand, for observing, companies are doing okay. Almost 60% have humans in the loop monitoring things. But when it comes to actually acting, to having a kill switch or controls to keep the AI from going off the rails, look at how those numbers just plummet. We're talking about a massive 15 to 20 point drop between seeing a problem and having the power to do a single thing about it.
So let's just put a fine point on it, shall we? Over 60% of organizations today, right now, cannot pull the plug on a misbehaving AI agent. Just let that sink in for a second. We can see the car speeding towards the cliff, but most of us don't even have our hands on the emergency brake.
But these gaps aren't just technical, not by a long shot. The second major problem is happening at the very top of the organization. It's a leadership issue, and the report calls it the board effect. I mean, just look at this. More than half of corporate boards, 54% to be exact, are not actively engaged in governing AI risk. So while their companies are racing full speed into this transformative new world, the leadership is basically sitting on the sidelines. So what, right? What's the real consequence of that? Well, it's not small. It is staggering. The report found that this is the single strongest correlation in the entire survey. Companies with unengaged boards are 26 to 28 percentage points behind on every single AI security metric. That's not just a gap, it's a chasm. Now, while this is a widespread problem, in some sectors, it's not just a problem. It's a full-blown crisis. Certain areas are falling so far behind that they're creating these critical, really dangerous outliers in the security landscape.
And this slide just shows the two extremes perfectly. On one side, you've got government, which the report describes as being a generation behind. I mean, a staggering 90% lack basic controls for their AI. And then on the other side, you have the benchmark, in this case Australia, which is consistently 10 to 20 points ahead on pretty much every single security measure. It's night and day.
Okay, so the picture looks pretty grim. I get it. But the report doesn't just sound the alarm and then walk away. It actually provides a roadmap. So let's pivot to the final act here, the 2026 Security Playbook. Think of these as the new rules for survival.
So this playbook is all built on a new foundation for AI security, and it's broken down into 3 essential steps. First up, build a new data baseline. Second, win the control battleground. And third, Master governance and compliance.
All right, let's dive into step 1. It all has to start with the baseline. It's simple, right? You can't protect what you don't know you have. This is where cool new tech like Data Security Posture Management, or DSPM, comes into play. It's all about fundamentally understanding and classifying your data from the ground up.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, here's that uncomfortable truth again. A fancy tool is totally useless if you can't actually enforce the rules. And get this, a massive 61% of organizations can't enforce their own data tagging policies. The takeaway here is so important. Without enforcement, these advanced systems are just really expensive monitoring. They're not real security.
Okay, let's move to step 2. And this brings us full circle, right back to that containment gap we were talking about earlier. This is all about winning the battleground over controls, gaining that undeniable, non-negotiable ability to stop a rogue AI dead in its tracks.
This chart shows you exactly what security teams are going to be scrambling to build by 2026. Just look at these gaps. 63% are missing purpose binding to keep AI on task. 60% don't have a kill switch, and 55% can't even isolate the AI on the network. Look, these aren't nice-to-haves anymore. These are the absolute essentials for deploying AI safely.
And that brings us to step 3, mastering governance. And this is bigger than just one company's internal policies. There is a whole new wave of global rules coming, like the EU AI Act, and it's basically setting the template for everyone, everywhere. Compliance is no longer optional, and you can bet that boards are going to be demanding proof.
So what does survival actually look like in practice? Well, the report points to these key things, these keystone capabilities. We're talking about evidence quality audit trails that can actually stand up in court, centralized AI data gateways to enforce policy, real active board-level risk oversight, and even using AI to make your own incident response better and faster. This is the new gold standard.
So, we've covered the acceleration, the stall, and the playbook for what's coming next. And all of this brings us to the final, and I think most important question of all, a question about your readiness. Look, 2026 isn't some far-off distant future. It is less than 2 years away. It is right around the corner. So after everything we've just seen, the one critical question you need to go back and ask is this: is my organization set up to simply observe what our AI does, or are we truly equipped to act? Because the answer to that question is going to define your security future.